All right, we are here at the 180 Solar Power headquarters in Escondido, California,
Worldwide headquarters.
with the founder and CEO, Peter Stern. How are you today?
I'm good. How are you, Billy?
Excellent.
Good.
You having a good week so far?
Yeah, I am. How about you?
Good, good.
Yeah.
What's on the board? What's your week been looking like? You have some projects in the works?
Yeah. We just wrapped up a pretty big commercial job, and we're getting ready to start another commercial job, and we've got about a dozen residential jobs on the board right now in various stages of production.
Sure.
So we've been busy.
Are you a San Diego native? Did you grow up in this area?
No, actually, I was from New York originally,
Okay.
and then my family relocated to the Phoenix area when I was about 9 years old. So I went to junior high school and college in Arizona.
Nice.
I moved here in 86.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you've been here most of your life.
Yeah, about 32 years.
Yeah. Do you remember your first job?
My first job was as the night janitor at my dad's construction company.
Yeah.
And I used to ride my bike to work. This was in Phoenix. I used to ride my bike halfway across Phoenix and clean their offices in the evenings and then pedal on home. That was back when kids could do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now everyone's scared to even go outside.
Yeah.
When did you first realize that you wanted to start your own business?
Well, the idea was first introduced to me. I was in the investment banking industry for a couple of decades, and one of the fellows that I was working with approached me and asked me if I wanted to jump in and start our own outfit, and that was over 20 years ago, well over 20 years ago. Yeah, so about 25 plus years ago. And I've been basically working for myself ever since.
Nice.
Yeah.
And was that in solar about 20 years ago?
No, that was investment banking,
Okay.
and we worked with a lot of startup companies, and first got into the solar industry about 10 years ago
I see.
for myself. Prior to that, we'd done, as an investment banker, I'd worked with a lot of clean tech companies and solar companies, things like that. But about 10 years ago is when I got into the business directly, installing solar.
I see.
Yeah.
And what made you choose Escondido as kind of the home base for you?
Well, Escondido is a good central location. We cover everything from San Bernardino south to the Mexican border. And Escondido's about a 1 hour drive no matter what direction you're going in. So
Right.
it's a good central location, good business atmosphere. It's affordable.
Sure.
Yeah.
And do you guys focus more on residential, commercial, a little bit of both?
Yeah. We don't have a specific focus. Just in terms of the volume of the number of jobs, we do more residential jobs. I think it's just more available.
Sure.
But we do, we get a lot of interest in our commercial work. We've done work for nonprofits, lots of churches and houses of worship, as well as government contracts. We just finished a nice installation a few months ago for the new fire station down at the harbor.
Wow.
Down here in San Diego, and that was a really cool job too. That was a government contract.
Nice.
Yeah.
What's the process like when dealing, residential versus, say, a government contract like the firehouse?
Yeah. Those are vastly different. Residential is very streamlined and direct. So it typically takes 4 to 8 weeks from the time we have a contract with a property owner until the job is installed. When you're dealing with government contracts, obviously there's a lot more bureaucracy. For example, with the fire station, we were awarded that contract in 2016, and it was we just literally turned the keys over to them this past week.
So over 2 years.
About a 2-year process, yeah. That's typical government contract. So all work is good, but you have to have the patience and the wherewithal to do the government work.
And I'm sure there's different certifications and qualifications. I mean, I'm sure a lot of other companies fought for that bid, right? What do you think separated 180 from all the other guys?
Well, our experience, we have a lot of experience where we are well known in the industry. We're known to be reliable and do high quality work. And then our pricing is good, and that's always a consideration, not just for homeowners, but when you're bidding on government jobs. And we have excellent pricing. We don't have a lot of the overhead that many solar companies have today, where they're spending, $50,000 to $100,000 every month on radio ads and TV ads, and they're buying fancy new trucks once a year and expensive
Right.
office complexes and so forth. So we like to keep our overhead low so we can pass on that savings to our customers.
Awesome. I know you've done thousands of projects.
Mhm.
What are a few that really stand out
Mhm.
as far as your favorite, like, man, this is my pride and joy project right here?
Right. It would be hard to pick out one project. The fire station that we just finished was really cool. There were some architectural challenges with that were fun. I really enjoy installing solar for the houses of worship, the churches, because I feel like there's an added benefit there.
Yeah.
And their electric bills are huge. There's a lot of savings. And there's a few residential customers that stick out in particular, but really, I don't think there's one particular job. I enjoy the challenging jobs the most, the ones that have specific engineering challenges in the design or the layout, the engineering, things like that. So anytime we can save a customer money, it's gratifying for me at the end.
Right. You've met with thousands of customers throughout, your time doing this. What would you say the biggest concern is that most homeowners have to deal with when choosing the right solar contractor?
Well, there's two concerns. Thinking about their home, first of all, the biggest concern that almost every homeowner has is their roof. Most residential solar systems are roof mounted, and it's a universal concern among homeowners that their roof is going to be damaged, or they're going to end up with leaks, things like that, because they've heard the horror stories, and the horror stories are true.
Yeah.
Because there's so many fly-by-night solar companies out there that are not doing good work. So that's probably the number one concern. We address that concern by going through with the homeowner, explaining to them how we seal our penetrations, how we use flashing and all those things, and then we give the customers roof leak protection warranty that we honor.
Wow.
So we've been fortunate we haven't had any problems with that, but we're meticulous about that stuff. We don't want that to happen. The other concern probably is just, are they getting a good deal? And there are ways to know that. I think it's important. You want to make sure that you get your bids from reputable solar companies, and you compare the materials that are being installed and the installation methods and things like that. And there's government information available also that can give you a good idea of what you should be paying. And we go through that with every homeowner, every property owner in the process of consulting to them.
And I'm sure price is, also a factor in there, right? Getting the best deal, like you said. Are there any incentives currently going on?
There are not a lot of incentives that are left. There is the state rebates have expired. All that money was consumed for solar. There is some rebate money that's still available for battery storage, but that's being gobbled up pretty quick also. And then the other remaining incentive is the 30% tax credit, which will offset 30% of the cost of your system no matter what that is. But that's going to start phasing out at the end of this year. It declines for the next several years, and then eventually it's going to also go away. So now's the most advantageous time if you're going to install solar. Install it now while you can get the full 30% tax credit.
Sure. Can you take someone, kind of explain the process? Let's say, they're watching this, they've been wanting to do solar, and they just don't really know what to expect. What can someone expect when, they see the phone number, they call? What's the process, start to finish?
The process starts with a free consultation. We'll send one of our licensed bonded technicians out there. We will do a site assessment and analyze their energy bills to determine exactly what size solar system they would need. We'll answer all the homeowners' questions, provide them with all the information they need to make an intelligent decision, and we'll leave them with a free, no obligation quote. When the homeowner decides they're ready to move forward, we will engage them with a contract, and at that point in time, the whole process will start. And we move aggressively through the process because people want to get their systems installed quickly once they decide it's right for them. So we take care of all of the engineering, the design, the plans, the permits, everything. It's a completely turnkey contract. If they have a homeowners association, we'll take care of dealing with the homeowners association. We take care of all the utility paperwork, everything. It typically takes about 1 to 2 weeks to have plans ready to submit for a permit. Permits in most cities are running about 2 weeks, and we're usually scheduled out 2 to 3 weeks with our installation crews. So you can typically expect, depending on what's involved, anywhere from 4 to 8 weeks from the time we have a signed contract until the customer's installed.
Great. Would you say that solar's for everyone?
That's a good question. Solar is right for 90 to 95% of the people that look at it typically.
Okay.
The only 2 instances really that come to mind where it wouldn't be appropriate would be, number one, of course, if somebody has extraordinarily small electric bills, and we run into that from time to time. A homeowner wants to go green, and we do a bill analysis and find they're only paying, $30 or $40 a month for electricity. Telling that to you that someone could spend $30 or $40 a month for their electricity probably seems pretty incredible, but there are people who have that small electric bill.
Right.
For someone like that, it's not going to probably make economic sense. And the other circumstance would be if somebody's immediately going to be moving. If they're going to be moving in the next year or two and they know it, then they may not want to invest the money in a solar system, although they'll probably recover the investment. In a few instances, we've had homeowners, however, contact us specifically because they were moving, specifically because they were selling their property. And in one case in particular, the Newmans in Escondido contacted us a couple of years ago. They'd had their property listed for about 6 months trying to sell it and hadn't got any offers. It was an all-electric house, and their electric bills were about $400 a month. Their realtor suggested that they contact us to get a quote for solar. They ended up hiring us. We installed a solar system on their house, and within 2 weeks they received a half dozen offers, and about 2 weeks later the home was sold.
Wow.
So in that case, it worked out in their favor. Homeowners are looking for solar when they're purchasing new homes.
Which brings it to the next point. When someone decides, I want to go solar, they start the search. Maybe they're on Yelp. Maybe they see a commercial. There's a lot of companies out there. What advice would you give for someone in choosing the right contractor? Because there are so many people in the space.
Right. That's a good question. The first thing I would look at is longevity. When I started in the business, there were about a half dozen solar companies when I started in the business 10 years ago. Now there's hundreds of solar companies, a lot of fly-by-nights.
Yeah, right.
A lot of heating and air conditioning contractors have jumped into solar. And small-time electricians have jumped into solar. And roofing contractors have jumped into solar. And everybody with a pickup truck and a screwdriver is jumping into solar because they think it's going to be easy money.
Right.
So there's a lot of fly-by-night. So I would look for somebody that has some longevity, some history in the business, number one. Number two, there are resources available to consumers. They can log on to the Contractor State License Board website, make sure the contractor is licensed. That's important. You want to look for a contractor that has a C10 electrical license.
C10.
Yeah. A lot of contractors are installing solar. A lot of contractors are installing solar with a B license, a general contractor's license, or a C46 solar license, in which case some or all of the work is going to have to be subbed out. And when work gets subbed out, it's usually going to go to the lowest bidder, which means lower quality. Lastly, I think it's important, there's a lot of information available online also for consumers in terms of what is a company's online reputation. Review websites. For example, you can go to the Better Business Bureau is a great one. Another great one is Yelp. So you can't always tell the quality of a company by how many positive reviews they have, because I think there's probably a lot of phony reviews that people put up, but more so look for negative reviews about the company. If people are mad, they'll go online somewhere and they'll let everybody know about it. So those are some things that consumers can do to protect themselves.
C10, C46, and great reviews. It's more likely that it's less likely for someone to have a good experience and review it than someone to have a bad experience and not review it.
I agree, yeah.
Right?
Again, we've helped countless homeowners install solar, and they're all happy. You won't find any negative reviews about 180 solar power anywhere in the universe of the internet or anywhere else. And at the same time, it's still very difficult to get real consumers to take 5 or 10 minutes out of their day to go put a positive review for you as well. And we're not going to fabricate phony reviews online, but I know there's some companies that do.
So you said 90 to 95% of people out there, solar is a fit, right?
Yeah.
What would you say to a homeowner who has heard negative information about going solar in general? Maybe it's their neighbor who installed a solar system and now their roof leaks. Maybe it's, I'm sure there's a variety of different reasons why someone wouldn't want to go solar because they heard, information negatively about it.
Yeah.
What would you kind of advise?
I would just advise them to be open-minded.
Yeah.
Again, a lot of times when consumers have bad experiences, it all leads back to the contractor.
Yes.
They hired the wrong contractor, and their roof is leaking, or their system isn't producing all the electricity they were promised it was going to produce, and now they have a huge electric bill at the end of the year on top of their solar payment. They all go back to the contractor. So my advice would be open-minded. Be open-minded. Contact a reputable contractor, solar-specific contractor, who has been in the industry for a long time, that has a track record, a visible track record, and be open-minded about it.
Yeah. How did you come up with the name, 180 Solar?
Well, 180 represents 180 degrees due south, which is the perfect azimuth. The perfect angle to face your solar panels is due south.
Okay.
And we rarely run into that on a rooftop because, architects and builders put up the houses where they can, and they're designed the way they are. So we don't often find a situation where the solar system is pointing exactly 180 degrees due south. When we do a ground mount, we can sometimes do that. But even if it's not 180 degrees perfect due south, even if your solar system is pointing east or west, you're going to get plenty of power. You only lose a couple of percentage points of your power.
I see.
And it's still going to be much, much, much cheaper than what the utility company is going to charge you.
Sure. Where do you see 180 Solar? What's your vision for the next 10 years?
Okay. Well, the industry is going to continue to evolve. The market is far from saturated. So there's a lot of growth left in the market. It's also a longer term cycle, because when you install a solar system on somebody's house, the solar panels that are installed nowadays are of such high quality they'll last for decades and decades and decades. So it's not like we're going to have a lot of repeat business, unless of course we're around for a long time, which is the plan. So there'll be a certain a degree of repeat business eventually in another decade or so. But in the meantime, what is developing very rapidly is the storage market, battery storage. And the way the utility companies keep jacking up the rates and finding ways to stick it to consumers, eventually that's going to be the direction everyone is going. The battery technology that's available today is improving rapidly, and the price is going to be coming down. So I wouldn't recommend battery storage to a homeowner today necessarily.
It's not there yet.
I don't think it's quite there yet, but 2, 3, 4 years, I think the technology and the pricing will be there, and it will be highly advantageous from an economic standpoint to add storage. And 180 Solar Power is going to be a leader in that area, just like we've been in solar installations.
Sure. What's a personal goal of yours that you have, say, that you want to accomplish in the next, 10 years?
A personal goal of mine? Well, I'm a cycling enthusiast, so one of the items that's on my bucket list is to take a European cycling tour, maybe for a couple of months, and go ride all the great roads and mountain stages in Europe, from the Tour de France and Giro Italia and things like that.
Have you done any long distance, similar type of rides in this area?
There's nothing quite like the Alps in this part of the country, but I enjoy riding a lot and enjoy riding distance. Yeah.
Sure. All right. Anything you want to say to someone out there, maybe possibly considering getting a solar system on their house? Solar is a great way to go. It'll save you a lot of money compared to what you're paying the utility companies. We've been involved in the business for a long time. I've been involved in the business for a long time. Have many, many happy customers, great reputation, great pricing. We'd love to hear from anybody that wants to get a free quote on solar. There's no obligation, no pressure, and Sounds good.
Let them make their own decision.
We'll put the information here coming up.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, guys, if you guys are looking to get solar, hit up 180 Solar Power, Peter Stern. It's been great.
Thanks, Billy. Appreciate it.
Have a great day, man.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm John Whitmer. I'm the facilities chairperson for the church here, and we decided to go with solar, so we went out and got several bids, one of which was 180 Solar. They were competitive in the bids, and we ultimately went with them. We're extremely happy with them. Did a beautiful job. They're timely. They were friendly to work with. Highly recommend them. We'd be glad to recommend them to anybody.